damn, even when the world's coming to an end, marketers have to have their bloody adverts out. Yes, after the sudden cancellation of last year's E3, it would seem, this year game executives would not allow a second year to go by without trying to overhype us into blindly spending our money by showing us a bunch of shiny things and telling us we can't have it until the first quarter of next year. So like before, I thought I would take a look at E3 as a whole and talk about some of the things I really took an interest in, and unlike before, actually finish the bloody series this time. We're going to start off strong out of the box with this one with a trailer for Tinystina's Wonderland, a full game expansion to that one Borderlands DLC everyone apparently loves. Ashley Birch, the voice actress of Tiny Tina, actually came out to talk a bit about the game and pretty much confirmed that it was just taking the concept of the DLC and applying it to a larger game based outside of the Borderlands canon, and it will feature Tiny Tina as your dungeon master. A Borderlands style loot-based shooter with a fantasy style theme to it, as it were. It's obvious at this point they are just drawing heavily from the DLC Assault on Dragon's Keep. That DLC was without a doubt the most popular, mainly due to the great writing and hilarious setting and characters. I'm not a fan of the Borderlands looter-shooter genre, but I have caught a lot of the cutscenes online and I find them to be very funny. I actually like these characters, even if I don't like the game it's built on. Anthony Birch really brought a great sense of humour to the franchise, and unfortunately one of my fears is that I really doubt he'll be returning to write for this spin-off. Which is such a shame, really. I know in recent years he's become such a meme, but I have a lot of respect for the man and his writing ability, and I'd really hoped that we could have the Hop siblings reunite in this one. It's not really my thing, but I have no doubt it's going to be a solid entry in the franchise, and that's all really Borderlands fans are going to want, so when it comes out, I'd say check it out. We got a lot of cross-promotion this year between genres that really had no place doing crossovers with each other, such as Stranger Things and Smite, Fast and the Furious and Rocket League and so forth. A lot of smaller games were strewn about the presentation. Metal Slug is getting a tactics game creatively called Metal Slug Tactics. Among Us is getting updates to include larger player lobbies, more costumes and modes. There was even an entire section dedicated to the indie games of PlayStation, called PlayStation Indies, which features a variety of creative games, even if Sony's naming department seems to be absent of such a thing. Chikari, the sequel to Salt and Sanctuary, Solar Ash, all looking like fine games that are really going to be fun to play. And afterwards we got a pre-recorded interview with none other than Hideo Kojima, the god of auteur video games, in which he unveiled to the world Death Stranding, the director's cut. Yes, it seems that Kojima is not done trying to convince himself that this so-called masterpiece was the biggest misfire in recent gaming history. To say that I don't like Death Stranding is kind of like saying Jeffrey Dahmer has a few dietary issues. It is the most I have ever worked to try and like a game, sinking in over 50 plus hours in just over a week. That's got to be some sort of world record for the denial phase of grief or something. As Hideo Kojima has decided not to show us anything new about this so-called true vision for his masterpiece turd, I have no idea what the additional features towards this game is going to be. But you, yes you, can presumably sink another £50 in order to fall flat on your face another million times and be bored to tears the way the director had always envisioned. And if there's one thing I never thought about while playing Death Stranding besides, oh boy this is so much fun, it was that this game sure ain't self-indulgent enough. Either it's a free update or I ain't playing it. Who am I kidding? I had my fucking PS4 exercise of this abomination a long time ago. And moving on from that, the next game to really catch my attention was none other than a sequel to Jurassic World Evolution, aptly named Jurassic World Evolution 2, being introduced by the Grandmaster himself, Jeff Goldblum, the man who can literally do no wrong in my eyes. This is a sequel to what was a game that had a lot of potential to be something really good, but I felt it was undercooked and very mediocre as a result. A sequel, in my eyes, is a chance to redeem a lot of the previous game's shortcomings and refine the good ideas that it had. The idea of running your own Jurassic World, while not inherently bad, even if it does go against the very moral of what the book and the original film was trying to say, would be a pretty good thing to do, and properly realised I think it could be a very fun game. Just make sure to actually refine what you've got, build upon the foundations of the original, and I'm sure you're going to end up with a pretty good game. After that, we got a look at Lost Ark, Amazon's latest step up to the plate in trying to release a game that won't utterly fail. From what I can tell, you have your usual fantasy dungeon crawler in the vein of Diablo. I mean, what can I say? It's Amazon. I'm not really expecting them at this point to wow me and blow my mind with originality. They just need anything at all to get a foothold in this industry. I must admit I do like the look of it, however, it has a good aesthetic. Aside from that, not much to go on. Moving on from this, oh god, I'm going to butcher this, aren't I? Anacrusis?
Anacrusis.
That fucking game. A first-person cooperative shooter set aboard what appears to be a retro-futuristic space station with Chinese knockoffs of the monsters from the new Prey game, and resembles what you would get if the Jetsons threw up on Left 4 Dead. Not much to say about this one. Moving on, we immediately take a look at Amazon's newest MMO fantasy game, New World. Somewhat overshadowed by the fact that this game drew a lot of controversy recently after it was revealed that it will feature pay-to-win mechanics and will be monetized up the wazoo. This includes XP boosters, and I'm not even kidding here, paying actual money to fast travel. This is the sort of shit you pull when you're doing a free-to-play game. There's no excuse for such things, and it's an indictment on how horrible the industry has become. MMOs and live services are on the way out as they are. People are getting sick of these over monetization schemes and are just looking for decent games. Add the fact that Amazon hasn't had the best win to loss ratio when it comes to video games, and suddenly you're looking at what is setting themselves up to be a complete failure. Looks nice though, just know what you're getting into. Next up, we're taking a look at the latest attempt by Supermassive Games to sink their entire company, with Dark Pictures: The House of Ashes. I have to at least respect Supermassive Games for their persistence. With 2 giant misfires under their belt, anyone else with smaller balls or bigger brains would have probably just cancelled the series outright, but no, the anthology remains a cockroach of the video game world in that it won't fucking die. I'm sorry, I know this series has its fans, or else it wouldn't be getting this far, but I just don't get it, guys. I don't see after 2 massive flops this could possibly be the injection of life the series needs in order to get back on track. Especially because they seem to have learned nothing when they were producing the sequel. We're 3 games in and I just don't get it. It's not like I'm saying these guys can't make a good game. They made Until Dawn and I really enjoyed that. But what seems to be a flash in the pan was a free ride for this company. And ever since then they have just been making stinker after stinker, and I just don't know how much longer they can stay afloat. That's all I can say about it. I'm moving on from here. Dark Western fantasy not your thing? Don't worry, because Namco Bandai, or Bandai Namco, or however the fuck they call themselves these days, has both sides of the coin covered with this latest entry in the Tales of series. Tales of Arise, the Japanese role-playing fantasy game. No hyperbolic, it does look like they literally looked at From Software and said, what can we do to make this the opposite of what they're doing? It's colourful, it's anime as fuck, it has some gorgeous looking landscapes, hack and slash combat mechanics, and an interesting array of characters. It just looks pretty damn good and seems to look like it's going to play even better. The Tales of series has a long lineage, much like Final Fantasy and Dragon's Quest, so I hope their latest game will live up to such standards. Well, at least the standards of Dragon Quest. Final Fantasy has been dragged through the dirt in recent years, but you get my point. It seems to be on the way to becoming what will be a very solid entry in the series. Finally, we of course come to the main event and the most anticipated announcement of the night, possibly the entirety of E3. Hidetaka Miyazaki and George R.R. Martin joined forces to bring us this new IP, this new world, new story, new epic game from the creators of Dark Souls, Bloodborne and Sekiro. We have Elden Ring, From Software's latest in sadomasochism in the form of interactive entertainment. Described as an evolution on the foundations of Dark Souls rather than a spiritual successor, Elden Ring is shaping up to look like what is going to be the hottest release by From Software, expanding scope, world and indeed writing talent to bring us this dark epic fantasy adventure. The different terrains, environments and monsters really help to establish the scope of what will be a massive open world environment, while also driving home the dark and oppressive atmosphere From's games have always had. I genuinely hope that this will have a richer and more forefront storyline. I mean, I love Dark Souls' approach to storytelling, don't get me wrong, but if you're going to have George R.R. Martin help you write the damn thing, you better include some interesting dialogue scenes and good character exchanges, otherwise you're going to waste the talent. With a more open world, I suppose you could have more environmental storytelling like Red Dead Redemption 2 had. As it's open world, I doubt that they're going to have the vast interconnected feel of the first game, but maybe the world could lead to some interconnected environments within the world that helps you make you feel like From's previous work. And speaking of environments, wow! These look amazing. I cannot wait to explore this world before, getting pounded into a smear for the 50th time that session. And speaking of which, on the combat side, it does seem to be taking a lot from Dark Souls while also building upon the lessons from previous games. It does seem to have much more fast, fluid combat, like Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3, and I don't think it differentiated too much from the previous installments in terms of how it plays. This is a really good trailer that shows off everything that the game has in very small chunks, and I do have a feeling that no From Software fan is going to be left in the dust. No matter what game is your favourite, I think they're really going to deliver. But I have been wrong before, So do remember that any good developer can drop the ball on something and totally screw the pooch, the horse, the entire fucking farm, and your mum. So don't get carried away. So we'll just have to wait and see. But for fuck's sake, finish the Winds of Winter already, John! And that was pretty much it. Or at least the stuff I wanted to talk about. There were some things I skipped over, mainly there was an Evil Dead game in there, but I was so indifferent on that at this point, I had really nothing to say. We're really only just starting, and there could be a few surprises sprinkled throughout the whole of E3, but to be honest, I think they blew their load a little early with Elden Ring. They should have waited way later before they unveiled it, because this was a real top favourite that people were really anticipating. But next we're going to be taking a look at Ubisoft Forward. Till then, check out some of the trailers and tell me what you think. If you disagree with anything I said, leave a comment down below. And if you like my content, subscribe and ring the little bell for more videos. Catch you guys later, bye for now!